Geek Squad.
A very good evening to you. It's 7 p.m., a few minutes after 7 p.m. My name is Kobe Spike and Chroma. You're tuned into Joy99.7 FM, and the show is Geek Squad. Joy Geek Squad. That means that when you're tweeting at this show, you use the hashtag Joy Geek Squad, and every day at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., we come to you to talk about technology and everything relating to technology in the world and Ghana and on your current device that you're holding. In case it seems that it's something you should know, we are the ones that break it to you, explain it to you, and help you out so you don't get left out. And with that, today we're talking about the whole SIM re-registration exercise. Yes, you've probably heard, you make a phone call and you are reminded to re-register your SIM card or lose access to services like phone calls, mobile money, and the lot that are powered by your SIM card. And this seems to be, a cause for concern. Some people have been complaining about the queues. Some are complaining about, why do we have to do this all over again? And we want to look at it from the tech aspect. Is it really necessary? What is it going to do? Is it going to help us? Should you be concerned? Should you do it? I mean, you definitely need to do it, but some people are giving reason why they shouldn't, and some of the solutions that we think that should be considered, and some of the problems that we think people are facing, and how we think we'll be able to fix them. And we will also sample your views on the situation and the issues as we go on with the show. Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. Choose your own bundle your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. Just dial *138# and enjoy bundles that don't expire. So you can watch us live on Facebook, or you can watch us live on YouTube. You can tweet at us on Twitter, and you can join our Telegram group t.me/JoyGeekSquad. We're also available after this show on a podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, or a tech show. We're everywhere, ubiquitous. And I'd like to invite my guests, or introduce my guests, Michael and Winston, the usual suspect. If you're a usual listener to this show, you know them. Yes, Winston.
Hi. Hello, listeners. I actually thought when you said talking about a guest, you're going to forget about us.
I should have.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Someone told me today that he was a first-time listener, and so there's always new people,
okay.
Catching up. So it's good to introduce you guys. I can't leave you out. So Winston Watcher, welcome.
Thank you.
And Mr. Michael Ajete, welcome.
Yes. Thank you very much, Spike. It's so nice to be here again. I haven't been here this year. I missed you guys. Somewhat.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he hasn't been here.
Yes. You haven't been here. So Happy New Year to you.
Many happy returns to our loyal listeners.
Yeah, I spoke for the listeners, so yes. And then joining us as well is Desmond Israel, a man that I look up to him a lot because he's both a lawyer and a cybersecurity expert, aka a white hat hacker. Welcome, Ni Manche.
I like that one.
You prefer that one? Ni Manche. If you follow him on Facebook, you know him as the Honorable Chief of Mafia. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, Chum.
It's great to have you here. So today we're talking about SIM registration, and I like to talk about it a lot, but I'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive in. If you have any questions, I'll announce the numbers when we come back so you can send them.
Rise and shine, my people, and welcome to Radio 550. Well, now today it's all about enjoyment on MTN. Oh yeah! MTN Rewards is giving the best deals on all the things you love. Just keep talking, texting, using your data to collect points, and get amazing offers and discounted freebies right away, every day. To check your rewards, dial *550# and voila, everything's someday for you all. From airtime to data to shopping discounts to movie tickets, we got you. So keep using MTN and redeem your rewards every day. Oh no, like enjoyment. Let's go. Everywhere you go.
And we're
Geek
back.
Squad.
If you want to send us a WhatsApp message, 055 111 997 055 11 11 997 055 11 11 997. I want to know from you, have you done the SIM re-registration? How was your experience? And share with us what you also think about the whole exercise. I know typical us Ghanaians, no matter what, we always seem to find something wrong with everything. I mean, I'm a Ghanaian, and anytime something comes up, I'm quick to go like, no, we should have done this or we should have done that. But sometimes I want to be objective. And yeah, some I really think that, this position that we're taking, blasting everything that is done is unnecessary. But I want to hear from you. What do you think? Now, back in the studio, I'm going to ask you guys, starting with Nimache. What is this whole SIM re-registration about?
Okay. So I think it's no news that we were all asked to go for a Ghana card, which was under the authority of the NIA. Now, at a point, they needed to sync the Ghana card to the SIM card. Technically, what you seek to do if you are joining a SIM card to an ID, especially if it's biometric ID, is that you're trying to issue more like a EID or a mobile ID. So wherever I am, so long as my phone number is hooked to me, every detail about me can be produced. So for transactions, payments, travels, authentication and all that. So if you look at it from that angle, yes, it was an exercise worth engaging. The problem still comes whether that re-registration has to go through the process that we are going through now. And I've had the benefit of two platforms on Joy FM, and I've stated my position clear that for the kind of investment that we've made into national identification and biometric, even if you look at how far we've come with biometric, the statistics shows we probably have spent over $700 million trying to achieve biometric since we've really wanted to do this. And I don't think for that kind of colossal sum and the excuses for which reason we've not been able to get to where we want to get to, we are doing ourselves any good, even with this registration and doing it the way we are doing it. I mean, single point of information, consolidate the data, get everybody to hook up to it, and I'm sure as we go on, I'll get the benefit to maybe explain a bit more. But clearly, there's two key things about an ID. The foundational component, which is your identity, and then the functional component, which is what the card is supposed to do. So the foundational component, we all agree. There's no qualms about that is what we call the biometric. That is unique to everybody. So what is left is the functional. So why can't we establish the foundational component and just hook up so that as and when who needs the functional component, if it's DVLA, that bit is extended to them. But we have all of them, as we speak, have biometric.
Yeah.
So that's why we are here. We are trying to re-register this SIM so that we could get it to sync to the NIA database, which is actually the Ghana card database. And it's a matter of law that it should be done. And so the SIM registration process is one of the processes by which they want to use to make sure that they consolidate the data. It's just that, I mean, for a techie, I don't think I can subscribe to the process that they decided to adopt.
Before I ask you on what you think would be an ideal process, Michael, have you done the Ghana card?
Ghana card, yes.
And you got your biometrics collected.
Yep.
Have you got a driver's license?
Yep.
And you got your biometrics collected?
Yeah. But although my driver's license is much older than my Ghana card
Right.
so far. So I am wholly expecting that the next time I go to update my driver's license, although I won't need to get my biometrics recaptured, they will be able to pull the data from NIA.
That's what you're hoping.
Well, I know I've heard that the conversation is going on between
Right.
them, that they should be able to pull relevant pieces of data from the NIA database and refer to that in the DVLA database.
So ideally, if I'm going to get my driver's license, they don't need to capture my biometrics again because that data is already
Yes.
in the NIA database. So I provide the identifiers and they'll be able to pull that data.
It's already happening now. SNIT has been linked to directly to the Ghana card, as has the your TIN numbers as well. So with those, as opposed to then having to go and do that entire re-registration process, especially for SNIT, capture your biometrics, apply for the card and everything. Literally, now, if you have a Ghana card, you're automatically assigned a SNIT number. It's done. Different info, same database.
Right. Winston, you don't have a driver's license.
We don't know that. So now that you said, never mind.
So if anybody sees Winston behind the steering wheel,
Yeah,
do not ask him
Oh,
questions.
no. I mean, it was a question. Actually,
It's more like a statement, but yeah,
you
let's
don't have a
go.
driver's license, do you?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, let's go on. Carry on.
So, reason I'm asking this is that I want us to use Winston as a case study later on. When he's,
We've actually spoken about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
okay.
Yeah.
So you see, why are you taking the wind out of my sails? I'm going to go back to Nee. So Nee,
Yeah.
with what Michael said, it seems to be that there's a duplication of data, right? Because I went for my driver's license, I had both hands captured, and the Ghana card as well is capturing that data. And according to what Michael is saying, ideally, I don't even have to driver's license shouldn't capture my biometrics again. But here with the SIM re-registration, it's being recaptured after people have gone through the Ghana card and you're supposed to re-register. Why do we have to go through that process of verifying that I'm the same person?
Okay, so verifying that you are the same person is part of biometric authentication.
Right.
That's relevant. That must be done. The issue is trying to go back to do what we call biometric identification, where you're trying to capture the data of the person all over again. Okay, and we've also argued that by what you're doing, you are actually keeping another data silo of our biometric. And I stated from a security point of view that there's something called the multiple attack surface. And if you try to create multiple databases of probably potentially the same instance with just few modifications, you're giving access to multiple interfaces of attack. So I can go after the database at Passport. I can go after the database at SNIT. I mean, as in, if an attacker is interested in, you can do the same probably with SNIT, do it with the NIA. Okay, but we sought to consolidate these things so that we can have one security architecture, one access to it. And so clearly we've not done that, because if we have, we will not be having this conversation. I also like to follow logic, so if we have done it, the NIA, even in law, the NIA actually is supposed to give access to what they call the user agencies. And all these authorities which are issuing these identities are under the law are all user agencies who ordinarily would have been given access to the NIA database. They might have some maybe data sharing agreement, and then based on that they can do their work. But because we have not done that, we are trying to sort of we're looking at convenience, and then we have time to deal with. So let's get it. Let every institution grab what they can. I also have a suspicion, and there's a suspicion because I have not led any evidence to that yet. But I have a feeling that they actually want to do comparative analysis of the data.
Right.
There's a potential that even the data at the NIA is not trusted from an integrity point of view. Yes, it's allowed. But the question is how huge is the margin of error such that you need to collect it all over again so you can assess and maybe clean it up, And you look at the time cost to us as citizens going through this. The question you ask is, what happened to the system design? And I spoke about these, in an elaborate form, that before you proceed to do these things, you must have the design in mind. If you were going to implement the biometric database for national identification, you know that it's going to come with EID from the scratch. You know that it's going to integrate to multiple agencies. And if you are not having institutional bureaucracy and institutional localization of data, where you have institutional sovereignty of data, where people feel that data should work in a certain way for us, so we don't want anybody to come and touch it. If we can't break that barrier, if we can't come to a national conclusion as what exactly we want to do with the data, we're going to go through what we are going through. And I've said it, that we will come back in 5 years and have the same exercise again, because we always refuse to just accept that this is wrong. Can we go back and get it done right? What would have stopped us from having the database properly done, integrated, okay, and it gives even API access, to all these institutions, and then you can then use biometric authentication, for instance, which you call the verification, to just access the foundational data. So if I go to DVLA, or he goes to DVLA, he goes to DVLA, he just goes in there. Those devices are no more enrollment devices.
They're just verification.
Exactly.
So that was going to drive me to the other question I was going to ask. So, because a lot of arguments, and I've seen posts online, everyone has their opinion. Some are saying that data that's being captured, and I'm using air quotes because people are assuming that data that's being captured is not being stored, but is just being verified with the NIA 1. So, for instance, if I go to MTN to go and re-register my SIM card, and they capture my fingerprints, they're not storing it. They're just comparing it with what is on the NIA database to make sure that, Osimesi is exactly the person who is registering the SIM card, and he is, as said on the Ghana card, Osimesi, right? So is that the case? Are they just taking the data and then verifying, or they're actually capturing and creating another database that, like you've mentioned already, going to cross-check? Because that's what a lot of people are arguing on social media.
Okay, so before my colleagues come in, let me just make a point on that. I think I can throw a joke at that. It's probably 99% a lie.
So it's not verification, it's capturing.
You see, verification, and I speak as somebody who has assessed the biometric for the purpose of security. Whenever you enroll, it creates templates.
Right.
It is against the templates that you verify. So, if we have an SRA, which is a SIM registration application, tell me how it links to the NIA. I want to know. No, not you. I mean, it's a question.
Yeah.
It's, even though it's rhetoric, it's worth asking.
Yeah.
Where is the link? There's none.
Right.
Between the SRA and the NIA database, there's none. If there is, we would not be here.
I mean, the fact that even you can see the app for SIM registration available on the App Store raises a lot of concern. Like, if this is supposed to link to a national database, why is it out literally on the international apps market where anybody can download? Already, that is a problem. Actually, before I'm even jumping ahead, Winston, have you seen the process in action?
I've sort of, where I've seen someone. So my issue with the process, and which makes me feel like it's a recapture, like Manche said, is that they are taking pictures of your fingerprints.
Right.
now, we don't even need to be that adept in biometrics. But we know that a few years ago, when fingerprint scanners came on our smartphones, initially they used to just take pictures of your design. And most banks or most apps that required some form of passwords will not allow you to use that type of fingerprint scanner as a way to verify anything. It'd be like, it's not safe. So for a national verification process, how? if any of our listeners, if you've done the Ghana card, you see you put your finger on the device one at a time, and it scans, it
Yes,
blasts
that's
lights
Mhm.
on the finger. So there's an in-depth capture of your fingerprint. A picture is not going to suffice.
Hmm.
So the mere fact that it is a picture, and then I'm sorry, they are using smartphones, which begs the question that, okay, if you've got this app, which I'm about to check its permissions right now, definitely it has permissions for your data storage onto your SD, like your card, which means that it's being locally stored. Now, if it's being locally stored, who is responsible for cleaning this data? Is it the person who's capturing it? Is it that, are you telling us that, oh, after we finish with the process, we'll put all the phones together and format all of them? Even formatting, we know, is not
100%.
100%. So what exactly is going on with this verification? The question really stands. Is it a duplication process or it is a verification process? Because if it's verification, then pictures are not going to verify. So is it that the app is connected? So are they telling us that it is the app that is connected to the NIA server, that when you take the picture, it will look at the picture,
And then
what is
compare
looking
with-
at the picture first, and compare with the better images that NIA has captured during the Ghana card procedure, and be like, okay, that's you. So me, I don't know, I have questions. So you just take the picture and then it will be like, okay, yeah, that's you. Then we go. It just sounds sketch.
Me, you heard Winston's point.
Yeah.
From a professional point of view, can we hold this picture taking of our fingerprints as verifiable data to say that, oh, comparing that to what NIA has, we can get 100% match? Or well, can
100.
we get that 100% match just from pictures of the fingerprints?
If you get
Okay.
50 Seth, you've done well.
So first of all these biometric experts, including those at the NIA, will come and tell you that biometrics are allowed to have some margin of error.
error, yeah.
Exactly. And so if it borders on you to do your cleanup every now and then. But I think your question is valid to the extent that, listen, whatever you are collecting, before you use it for verification, I said it, the system must create templates out of it, so that when you come back again and you check, it will run against the template. So for instance, if it's an iris authentication, it would do like maybe 200 permutations of your iris, because there's a potential that the way you stood when you took the picture, you're not going to stand
Yeah.
the same way at verification. So it creates multiple instances of it, so that when you now come back and it scans it, it runs it against that database of 200 of your own iris, all the permutations, just to make sure it gets you and to cut down the margin of error. So yes, where is the template sitting? And it goes back to Winston's question. If there is ever a connection between the application and the NIA database, we would not be here. You understand? And we would not even need it to be taking the kind of imagery that we are taking now, because we would go strictly to do an authentication of it. And we could even get to the point, like I said, maybe because we are trying to roll out to mobile ID, but you can actually get to the point where a liveliness test, assuming we have our national app for the EID, like Estonia does, you could take a liveliness test, and that could authenticate you into the NIA and then all other services. And this is beautiful, because in Estonia, I met one of the guys that did the project in Estonia, in Ghana, because that was the same time Ghana was trying to scout for, so they were in town. So we had this meeting, we had a lot of conversation around it. And this gentleman named his child, because the boy was born when we were having the meeting. He named his child from the app. He authenticated himself to the birth registry and give the child a name. Yes, so we know what these things does. We are saying you are not doing it right.
Right. Cool. So I'm going to read some messages on WhatsApp. Good evening, tech guys. Please tell the authorities to let KNUST students develop an Android biometric application which will allow us to capture our fingerprints and submit with the ID number to the telcos, and then it will be synchronized with the NI biometric data. This one is not rocket science. The world is moving fast and not waiting for us. Let's wake up Ghana for Shalom from Bue. Did I get the name right? Bue or... Yeah. Kobe spiking from I did mine. The process was just like 5 minutes. Oh, you're lucky. When the network is bad, forget it. But how sure are we that this is the last time of SIM registration or anything as such? As my guests have clearly said, 5 years from now, we just might be doing this again. Why can't every Ghanaian have access to the app and do their own registration? My Google Pixel went Douglas from DC. Douglas. Yeah. And have I re-registered my SIM? No. Do I have a Ghana card? No. I've tried registering my birth cert since last year until date. It's been back and forth. I'm even tired. Without it, how do I get a Ghana card to even think of registering my SIM? That's from Sly. So yes, if you want to send us a message on WhatsApp about the SIM re-registration exercise, or you have any questions or any observations, you can send us 055 111 055 1111 997 055 11 11 997. SIM re-registration. What's your opinion? Do you think it's a duplication of data? Do you think that we should have a self-service, application where people just download an app and do the whole thing themselves? Or do you think this thing is totally unnecessary? Like, why are we even doing it? I want to hear from you.
The interesting thing is that, like, coming from a data analyst standpoint, I'm surprised, like Manche mentioned, it's cost ineffective to have multiple databases, because just the US loses billions of dollars, just in their health sector, because sometimes when people's IDs are being captured, mistakes are made. And in data analysis, one of the toughest thing is cleaning data. If you have over 350 million people, and everybody, let's say in the US, you can have like 10 people called, for the lack of a better name, Jon Snow. Now this Jon Snow, all of them seem to be 6'5" or 5'8", and it's like there are certain ways to be able to differentiate this data. Now we have a situation where multiple parties in this country have data. Has the NIA allowed this so that we can combine the data, then we clean it up so that we have a more robust
Couldn't this
data
be
set?
why they're capturing all this data from different
Yeah, that's what I'm
points?
asking. Is that the plan? Is that the plan? Because if that's the plan, then
Then it's
it's
good.
not really going well.
Okay.
It's just tedious.
If that's the plan, then it's a good idea, but it's not being executed well.
Yeah, because people have to leave work. So a friend of mine just today told me that he's trying to get his Ghana card, and anytime he goes to the place to get a Ghana card, they tell him that they only have a maximum of 15 people a day. 15 people in a day. So when will he be
You
extended?
should find a different place.
And he has to go to work.
He has to find a different place to go to.
That's the funny thing. You go and people have been there since 4 a.m.
That's why they have an appointment booking application.
for certain areas. Michael,
Yes.
are you
Well, that's
aware of
true.
it being across every single registration center?
When you go on the website, so far, every time I'm referred to
appointment.
Shiashi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if this friend is in Takrade,
Okay. Case made. Michael, you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just curious. Like, yes, this is why they are going through so much pains to make sure that the registration process works. When they did the national registration process, was it 2 years ago? Or 2-3 years ago, when they're literally going around every district capital around trying to make sure everybody was registered. Then after that, they came back to every district every district capital, and then open centers for people to come and register, and then further on adding Ghana Revenue Authority offices. And I know, again, I've heard that other local government offices are being negotiated to open more places for people to go and register their Ghana card. Now, I can't speak to the limitation of 50 people, but what I can say is that that's why the process is still on.
15.
15. Oh, anyway, I can't speak to that, but
Yes.
I can speak to the fact that that's why the process is still ongoing, and they're still trying to show up those numbers to make sure that literally every Ghanaian that exists, at least in Ghana for a start, is on that database. And by law, that database, as Manche said, is it is literally the one ring of databases, one database to rule them all, at least when it comes to IDs in Ghana.
Yeah.
Ideally, even now, not even ideally even now, everybody else who has a database should start deleting stuff. If you're not referring to NIA's data, because you can't, for the sake of keeping a clean registry, you can't now go to somebody else's database, copy it, and then start comparing it to yours. Is it okay or not? Because that you're going to open all sorts of data inaccuracies in there. And even now, there are situations where a lot of people can't get their Ghana cards literally because of this data cleanup exercises. People are double registering because they registered the first time, they didn't get the Ghana card, and they felt they couldn't wait any longer. So they thought, okay, I need to register again. But the system logs it immediately as a double registration. So now all your Ghana cards are held up. In fact, those of you who have Ghana cards, if you read the numbers on it, you literally see that there's a difference between your ID number and a number assigned to the Ghana card, because every person has a finite number, not necessarily a finite number. Every person has a particular Ghana card issued to them. You cannot literally it's not literally just print it out and walk out like it's an internet article. Everything is tracked and linked directly to you as a user via your biometrics, which are literally also accessible all over the country through NIAs. I know that, I can't say this one, I know for sure that they do have a verification solution deployed. Some national agencies have it, some banks have it. I think Car Bank, for example, have, what do you call it, a verification device directly linked to NIA, and if you go and do any transaction, you have to present your Ghana card and use that to verify that you are the owner of that Ghana card. I know other banks too as well also are getting into that as well.
Right. So according to, I think this was in regards to Sly's message, because he said he couldn't do his birth certificate. So Sly, if you're listening, if you generally do not have the mandatory verification documents, i.e. your passport or your birth certificate, you can have a relative who's already registered vouch for you. And if you do not have a relative to vouch for you, then you have to find two people who know you to be a citizen and have already registered and are willing to vouch for you. So you don't 100% need your passport or your birth certificate, so you can go with that. And we've got a message here that says, hello, what is being said by a panelist is not accurate because I have privileged knowledge. Okay. Number one, the picture of the fingers is just to generate your fingerprint for the authentication. And number two, they're not doing enrollment, just verification. Number three, NIA has APIs and you have to go through a process to get access. And number four, the APIs are very robust. And number five, I agree that the process by the telco is a bit slow, and I think it is because of network or something else. Oh, you didn't add your name.
With this privileged knowledge there, he's not going to add it.
And good evening, guys. I managed to register a new Vodafone SIM card on Constitution Day, which was simple. Now, I wouldn't bother myself to register my already existing SIM I used for the Ghana card, voter ID, driver's license, health insurance. What happens if I am blocked for not registering the existing SIM? That's Chrissy from Ibri.
Well, babe, if I remember our conversation the previous time, this is the second time we've had this re-register. She said you lose the number because per the law, you are renting the number.
Right.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't even use your number for
a period,
time,
yes, put back into
goes back recirculated. So, common sense, wisdom, and leadership is the problem of the country, my brothers. Some issues with common sense won't occur in the first place, but guess what? As if it's lacked big time. That said, who is the third party keeping our biometric info at the telcos? I know it's not NIA. It's like we don't. You can only speculate.
A lot of conjecture.
Yeah, you can only speculate. We don't know whether, according to, we've got some privileged knowledge here saying that they're just verifying.
Okay, yeah. They're addressing the privileged knowledge. I mean, none of us said that it was for enrollment. Yeah, it's verification. And now, I mean, Manche mentioned that, the biometric experts, which he is. I said I'm not a biometric expert. He mentioned that there's an allowable margin of error.
But now, the question then becomes,
what is this margin?
What is this margin when you are using photos to
get and not just an actual biometric capture device?
Because I doubt they're using your phone, Spikey, and your phone has an amazing camera.
Exactly.
I wouldn't use my phone, which has a really good camera, and I wouldn't use my phone to take pictures of my ID in hopes of verifying it against. And what sort of roundabout method is that? To take a picture of an ID, and then you're not sending it directly, so it's not immediately comparing verifying
Well, I
that.
think that could also be the reason why it's slow, because maybe they have to send it to the NIA database, and then it comes back with a response.
What roundabout way is that? The system that some banks and some government agencies have literally reads your Ghana card and says that this Ghana card is for Kobe. Then it asks you, put your fingerprints on here and let me know that it is actually Kobe who brought this Ghana card. Boom, you're done.
You know
At that
what?
point, you can even remove the Ghana card and you have already been verified.
You know what's interesting? I recently had to go to the bank, and I used my Ghana card in the bank for the first time, and I didn't even have to go through any fingerprints verification. They took the card, disappeared, and came out. I was like,
And
everything
they said
checked
you're
out. Yeah.
So I'm aware of that part of the API, okay, where the banks go through a certain rigorous, process, and then they are given access to it for the purpose of EKYC. Now, on the privileged knowledge, I don't know who is speaking, but there's likely to be that which is accurate. But the question is this privileged knowledge saying that the SRA has API to the NI? I would like him to just answer that anonymously, but because I know of the APIs, and that's why your bank was able to do the verification.
He said yes.
For you. Okay, good. Then we are on track.
So let me read some more messages. I did a re-registration with Airbnb from the comfort of my bedroom in less than 5 minutes using my phone. I don't see why the same can't be done in this exercise. That's Daniel from Adinkri.
Wait, so does that mean Daniel downloaded the app and just went through the process?
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah,
No,
what
I
does
think-
he mean?
Yeah, Daniel, I think I need more clarity on what you said, because he said a re-registration with Airbnb. So he's probably re-registering an Airbnb, or like, please,
Yeah, we're
give us
confused
some
right
more
now. Clarity.
details. This is unnecessary. Why can't they get our Ghana card information from NIA to the telcos? Common sense. We don't have robots here. Herman from Mankesim or Mannerism.
That's probably my guess.
Okay, so now here's my concern about this whole taking pictures of the fingers. And I remember we said this on Joy News. And I also saw that, for my memory is failing me right now.
Spiky, I know older than me. Don't do that.
But there's the issue of double amputees, for instance.
Yeah, Farida mentioned that.
Yes, Farida Bedwe also had that challenge where she has a motoring disability and she couldn't hold her hand
For
still
long.
to capture. She was only able to capture one hand, the other hand she couldn't. And so imagine the population who have this challenge. How are we taking that into consideration? What other biometrics are we capturing for the disabled, for instance?
It's built
I mean,
in.
they capture your
They
eyes.
capture your irises,
Your
and they
iris,
capture
yeah.
your photographs as well. And the verification devices that are being distributed by NIA actually allow you to switch.
This
between-
is for the NIA, but
Yeah.
I'm speaking about the SIM re-registration.
Yeah,
So
so
they
b-
also have that.
That's the thing. If they were using the actual NIA API
Yes.
as it's designed, you
But a
would.
privileged man says yes, they are.
Yeah, so
Well, I
so-
wonder
so
about that
on the-
because there's no way that NIA will allow you to take a photo of and bear in mind as well, what is linking that photo of that fingerprint to your ID? That is part of the NIA API. It starts with you reading the Ghana card first. It's the very first thing. This is a verifiable, strongly secure ID that we designed and distributed. Yes, this is ours, and we have assigned it to Kobe. Okay, then at that point, that is when your biometrics come in, whether it be your iris, your photograph. And in most cases, the iris is just part of the complete package. But for verification purposes, it's either your fingerprint or your face.
And we know that irises are more secure than
Yeah,
fingerprints.
they are more secure, but reading that en masse for a population for a quick
Yeah, it's
verification
gonna take a
exercise
while.
is going to be a technical,
take
which is
it.
why we then lean back on what we know to use fingerprints and face. And remember, we have all 10 fingerprints, so we can even cycle between them. Like, okay, on this occasion, use your middle fingerprints, use your pinky or whichever. We have that access, and your face as well. And it's not literally just a photograph. There is modern mobile devices come with IR scanners that can detect the contours on your face. So someone can't come with a picture of your face and hold it up and hope that it will work. It will fail because it's literally a flat
Why would they
image.
even allow you to come with a picture?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I mean,
But and that's the thing. That is how the API. That's what the API is designed to do. First, it verifies that this ID is a valid thing that we NIA have assigned. Speak on behalf of them for this small case. This is a valid ID we've assigned, and then when you verify it with your biometrics, that you are the person that it has been assigned to. Boom. Why are you taking pictures of my face? How is that picture being linked to my ID? Because I'm also wondering, as for those who are registered for the SIMs, is there any point in time where they actually scan your Ghana card to say that this is you, and then link that image that they've taken?
Well, I think
So
because
with the API access, there's another logic. If the API is working, and we are moving on the basis of our privileged information.
our informant.
So that's our caveat. Assuming that the API is working, then your Ghana card number, because the API only reads endpoints, so your Ghana card number can actually call the data. So you know when you do the stage 1, you would have done that already.
Yeah.
So that data could reside. Okay. So assuming API is working the way it should, that data resides. So it will be easier for you to take the picture and match it against the template.
Right.
Because that's all the API does, matches it against the template and then say that that's the guy. So that can cut off even the scanning of the card itself.
right.
You get my point?
Yes.
Because the scanning of the card will require you to have a verifiable biometric,
Device, yeah.
maybe an MBR there for you to use to do that. But if they want to cut that off and the API is doing its job, they can just check the number. It calls all the endpoints. It verifies, okay, this number exists. Is one of the things we've issued. It calls all the endpoints on standby. Now, when you go and you provide that imagery, they can match it against the template via the API to confirm that it works. And that's on condition that indeed this API has access to the SRA has access to the API. Yeah.
Now, then my question, my thinking here is that if it really is, if they were willing to put one of the most important steps, which is verifying the Ghana card itself, because the first stage is done at home. I get it. You are concerned that someone could steal someone's pictures and send them to you. But how often is someone beating you up and taking your hand by force and taking a picture of your fingers and sending it? Like, why can we not just do that at home as well? Because I mean, it feels like right now we need to discuss why this is becoming tedious. There are about 42 million mobile connections in this country. We've been given up to March, February,
Yes, March.
End of March.
to get this done. Is
And
that
some people
even
haven't even gotten their Ghana cards.
Is this even feasible?
Look at the pace. What's the pace of things? How long does it take to register for the Ghana card?
Well, some
It was Ghana card.
Ghana card. Okay, so I had a smooth experience.
But
You mean
even-
with the issuance of the card?
Yeah,
as well?
issuance of the card. I had a smooth.
even with your smooth experience,
It
how
was
long
about
did it take?
30 to 45 minutes.
30 to 45 minutes
Yes.
per person,
Yes.
per site. Then add to that the SIM registration exercise, which doesn't seem to be, on a good day, is 5 minutes. But
And then they talk about network breaks. I think there has to be an extension.
Definitely has to be an extension. So we're going to take a phone call right now to get some of these questions answered. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. So we wanted to know from you, based on your positioning, you would have some answers for us on the issues that we have raised.
Okay.
Yes. So first off, a background of how the system is working, because you mentioned that it's a verification system. It's not capturing the data.
Yeah. So basically, what they do is that they take a picture of your fingers. The reason why they do that, I think, is because they do not want to maybe use the biometric capturing devices. So we have several fingerprint capturing devices. Some is a Gamalog, Futronic. So the other simple way they can use is just to capture a picture of your finger. then there are image processing software that can extract the finger ridges from the picture that they have taken of you. So they do that. They process the image, they extract the finger ridges, they convert it into a format that the NIA can process. Then they send it with your NIA number and also to NIA to be processed. If they check out that is you, then they match they join your NIA number with your phone number, basically.
Right. So, if you don't mind me asking what your background is.
Okay, so I'm a software developer.
Right. And have you worked with this system personally? Even if it's private information you don't want to share, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are confident 100% that data that is being captured is not being stored?
Yes. According to law, if you have ever seen the law of the NIA before, you realize that it is basically illegal for anyone to manage or process your biometric data except NIA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so by law they are not supposed to do it, and that's what they are doing. They are not supposed to, but as the caveat is, well, yeah.
Missed that.
Hello?
The last part of what you said, your line broke up a bit.
Yes. So I'm saying that by law they are not supposed to do it. So they capture your finger, and in real time, the app communicates with their server. The server sends it to NIA for processing. If it checks out, your number is merged. If it fails, your number, the training stop. So you are not supposed to keep.
Your line is breaking. If you could position yourself well a little bit for me, it would really help.
Okay, it's not going to.
No, I can barely hear you. But
I have a question, but
right.
What info exactly do they send? Because he's saying,
that's what
and
you
how do they package this info to send? Because part of the thing of the design of this thing is to make sure that it's a live and instant and verifiable thing. Because literally, if there's a mistake, God forbid, with your bio capture, with using the method they do, and you go away thinking everything is fine.
Yes.
But because of the method they are using, literally photographs and relying on machine learning to read the ridges on your fingers in regular daytime conditions. This is not a photography studio. This is literally out in the open. Lord knows whatever weather conditions
most
may
likely
be.
they probably tested the devices they were going to use to know that this can handle this and that.
I have a unique experience of actually.
Let me
seeing
read
what
a few of the
happens.
messages.
I want to touch on what Michael said,
sure.
because a friend of mine went through the process with another friend who works for a telco, and they did the process, and after 12 hours, it still hadn't verified.
Wow. After 12 hours.
After 12 hours.
So in the case where it didn't verify,
So that means that am I going to stay
so maybe they'll call you after to come. So you
to
can
come
go
back?
home and they'll call you to come back. Yeah. So let me read a few of the messages. Running out of time. Good evening, guy. My name is Oti John Brobe from Ekropong, Ikwapim. Today I went. That's my hometown. I went join the queue to register my SIM. As they started, my Ghana card could not be captured. When he wanted to take the picture, all process came zone. He told me to come another time and look at the ordeal we go through. This is a lawyer who sent the process to court for disclosure of the third party. According to him, he asked what the biometric data taken at the telcos is for. Answer was they are keeping it so it's sent to NIA later for verification. So he asked who's keeping this data and got no answer. He found out NIA is not keeping that data, so he's in court now. He will need back data.
And with the answer we got about the data being sent to the NIA, from our software developer, there's a system thinking around it. Listen, when you're dealing with APIs, there's always a cache.
Yes.
The data must sit to be dealt with. So I would take it sent to the NIA with a pinch of salt. Also, being technically sound in how these things work. There is definitely a cache. The difference is how long you keep the cache.
So
whether
for listeners that don't know what a cache is, temporary storage
of the data. Thanks. So how long the cache stays with them, and it comes back to the point he was making. The kind of information you are collecting, it would not take magic to fly it out there. You need to keep it. And queue it. You need to keep it, queue it, so it could authenticate before you can get the information you want. And with the numbers that are before them trying to do these verifications,
that is going to be a huge log.
Actually, I can come back to that and add again that the way NIA has designed the ID data that is being gathered, especially for verification purposes, when it comes to verification, you're dealing with sizes less than, what do you call it? How many? 15 kilobytes. I'm sure, I forget the example, but it's tiny. And bear in mind, you have to deal with registrants all over the country, and you do not know where they will be. Sometimes you literally have an edge connection, and you need to verify with that edge connection.
So you need it as tiny as possible. Now that begs the question. So if you're taking high resolution pictures of fingerprints, these are going to be larger than megabytes, which is going to queue
for longer. Even though there would be some conversion.
And even like you said, it's going to there's going to be conversion optimization. It is reading. It's not sending your photos, but it is reading your fingerprints, taking the data points of those fingerprints and packaging and sending it to NIA.
So hello, Spikey. I have about 3 SIMs, and could you believe I had to use 1 full working day for each SIM cards I had? I don't know why every process in Ghana is so stressful. That's Kafi from UB. And following on this, I read a post on Facebook about a gentleman who uses SIM cards to track his vehicles, and he's tracking over 400 vehicles. Now, does he have to register 400 SIM cards? Is there anything that is, is there any provision for people who have multiple SIM cards like this?
I suggest first he parks his cars before March 31st.
If I remember correctly, the conversation the last time, the woman said that when it comes to businesses, they take their business registration ID to NIA, and then they use that. So they'll bind it to one of the executives of the company, and then you can have multiple numbers. So if you are going to do that registration process, it will just
you have your own
you have your own queue.
That makes sense. So I didn't have to download any app. With a click of a button, a window was open for me. I entered all info required, including my blah, and was open to submit pictures of my ID. Then I took a picture of my face and submitted. Done. Verification checked 9 hours. So time of verification, my payment had been blocked, but after 24 hours, money hits my account.
I think this person is just telling us how simple the Airbnb registration
is. I mean, if you're registered for Binance or any crypto wallets, you know how, all that verification process goes. SIM card registration. Let me read. MTN is saying all MTN SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Failure to register your MTN SIM will mean that you will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card. To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. When you dial *404#, you'll be required to send the following details on your card as your Ghana card PIN number, your surname, your first name, or if you have multiple, date of birth, gender, and you will then receive a code which will be presented to MTN Customer Care Center for your biometric details to be captured. Please note that the registration is free and you will not require to make any payments.
But before you wrap up, I just want to say something. There's one little reason why the pictures might actually work. Because if we are talking about a process where they have to bring their authentication machine, with COVID going on and all around, I can see why the pictures Makes sense. What they are doing. What we are asking is what's up plus the data.
So, which is why on our subsequent shows, we will find answers to that question. It takes less than 1 minute, if everything is right, to get that data captured. My name is Kobe Spiking Chroma. Thank you for joining me on the show Geek Squad. This show will be available on podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and Facebook. Tweet at us, #JoyGeekSquad. See you on the next one. Peace.